Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and just quickly introduce myself. I'm Shara Sanders. I am the Executive Director for Leadership DeKalb. I also was a class of 2017, I guess, alum of Leadership DeKalb, and then was on the board of about 2019 until I was asked to be the interim executive director in July of 2022. So I did that up until December of 2023, where I came on as the permanent executive director. And just what I'm also an attorney. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a dog and 2 cats. But anyway, we'll learn all about that later. I want to introduce other folks on the call who I'm very grateful that they were able to join us tonight. First off, I'm going to let Debbie Poe is our new program manager. So she just started last Monday, and I am thrilled that she's here.
Thank you, Shara. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here, attending this open house to learn more about the Leadership DeKalb program. My hope is that in the next hour or so, you will leave the meeting with a sense of excitement and purpose to apply to join the class of 2025.
Thank you, Debbie. Next up, I'm going to introduce Adria Welcher. She's class of 21, and she is our program day chair. If you'd like to
So
say.
good evening, everybody. So good to see you all. As Shara said, I am Adria Welcher. I am a proud member of the class of 21. And so if you can roll back into your memory banks, we were the COVID class. So our experience was wonderful, even though we had to adjust. So the wonderful thing about the class of 2025 is that you all will be coming in back closer to our full battery of program days. So super, super excited. I am a mother of 4. I'm a professor, which is actually why I was a few minutes late. I'm advising a group that's having a big basketball tournament on campus. I'm a professor at Morehouse. So, I had to make sure that my men were appropriately settled before I dipped out. So took this time to be with you all, and hopefully they will not destroy the gym.
Thank you, Adria. Also happy to introduce Geralyn Smith. She is the class of 2009. She is one of the co-chairs for our opening and closing retreats, and also a co-chair for our selection committee. And there you are, Geralyn.
Hello, and good evening, everyone. Geralyn Smith, and I'm really excited to be here. I was part of the class of 2009, and of course, the best class ever. Everyone else will be behind that, so you'll hear that echo of best class ever. We started it, so best class ever. But nonetheless, really, really excited that you all are here. This is an awesome, awesome opportunity for you to become part of Leadership DeKalb. And it's full circle for me to come back as being part of the board of directors. Very proud of Leadership DeKalb and all the impact that we have within our community. So much to learn, and I'm really, really excited to share a little bit more in our closing. A human resource professional currently. I'm a talent management strategist and also own a professional training and development company, Red Diamond Leadership Development. So really, really excited to have you all here, and good evening.
Thank you, Geralyn. Next, I'll introduce Angel Riley, who is, I always say I'm class 2017, which I think is the best class ever, but I also say my class of 2023 best class ever, just because it was my first class. So I have a special place in my heart for them. And so, Angel, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Shara. So I am Angel Riley, and I'm one of the Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorneys in the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office, where our elected District Attorney is Sherry Boston, and I can't remember her class year. Oh, okay. She's a Leadership DeKalb graduate, though. So I am a newbie because I am the most recent graduate. I know that you have a graduating class coming up this June, though. So I'm excited to be here and to participate in hopefully getting you and encouraging you to onboard and become a class Leadership DeKalb class of 2025.
Thank you, Angel. And then we're very lucky to have two members of our current class. So Joseph Brickman and Chris Perlera. If y'all would like to introduce yourselves real quick.
Sure. Thank you, Shara. My name is Joseph Brickman, and I am part of this year's class of 2024. We are still trying to earn our stripes and get through the program and learn as much as we can, but it's been a pleasure, and I think you guys will clearly pick up on the high energy that everybody has who is involved with Leadership DeKalb. I think we do not lack in that capacity, and any of you all who are interested in being in next year's class will be in very good hands, as we have been.
All right, my turn. And my name is Christopher Perlera, or Perlera, if you can't roll your R's. I am a proud member of this year's class, and I think we graduate in the summer, sometime in June.
June.
Fingers crossed, we all pass.
Yes.
I've been a proud DeKalb County resident for about 3 years, lived in the metro for about the last 12 to 13 years, and live up here in the good city of Chambly, where Councilman Stovall is over there. I think District 3, is it? Yeah, and so we've had the pleasure of getting to know each other a couple of times, but professionally, I do work in public affairs. I'm either everybody's token Latino leader or token political person, and oftentimes both. And so you'll regularly find me in a wealth of government and political spaces, and you'll see me all Thursday night for Sine Die, the last day of legislative session down at the Capitol.
Yes, I know we have lots of members who are involved in that, including our History, Arts, and Culture co-chair, who I've been trying to schedule a meeting, but just said, I'll wait until next week because I know this is a bad week. So just real quick before we kind of go into some of the meat, I wanted to give you a little bit of background about Leadership DeKalb. The organization was founded in 1986. It was part of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, and it branched off in 1994 to become its own 501c3. Recently, I've joined the Association of Leadership Programs and learning about, across the country, the different types of leadership programs like ours. And several of them are still under the Chamber of Commerce, but we are separate. We have over 1,500 alumni, and they're coming to come from all aspects of DeKalb County. We have elected officials, judicial, legal, cities, counties, school boards. We also have a lot of business owner entrepreneurs, nonprofit and community leaders, and also public safety, folks from the fire, police, sheriff's office, marshals. And we kind of try to have a very diverse class of all aspects of DeKalb County. We also, I guess I can now turn it over, Adria, if you want to go through kind of a quick program overview about what you can expect from the program year.
Absolutely. So I will share just a little bit about my journey. I did share earlier that I was a mother of 4, and unlike some of our other tokens on the call, I was just regular. So I didn't see myself as a leader, right? I'm a professor, I was a wife, I was a mom, but I was really, really involved in my kids in their DeKalb County schools. So I was always on the Principals Advisory Council, I was always on the PTA, doing all the things. I was involved in Junior League and Jack and Jill, all these other sorts of organizations. And what I saw in Leadership DeKalb for me was an opportunity to really learn about this place where I'd been paying taxes for nearly 20 years and raising children. So of course I worked in the city, my husband pastors over in East Point, so that's where our work life was, but our home life was in DeKalb. So Leadership DeKalb made sense because this is where I did my leadership. And I will tell you that my experience learning about DeKalb County through Leadership DeKalb has just confirmed and affirmed that that was the right decision for me. So the way that our program is structured is that it's about a 10-month program, right? So 12 months in the year, 10 months of them, you will be in a structured day setting with Leadership DeKalb. So there's a class orientation and a 2-day retreat that begins in August. And it's overnight. We have a good time and have all sorts of tricks up our sleeves. You never know what we're going to ask you to wear or do. So just come with enthusiasm and just be ready to have a good time and get to know each other, both for the roles that you occupy in terms of your professional lives, but also as yourselves. Because I think another theme that you'll continue to hear is that the relationships that you develop throughout Leadership DeKalb, they surpass our opportunity to lead, but we really become friends and family. And that's another beautiful attribute of our program. So our program days, again, there are 10 of them over 10 months. They're on Thursdays about 8:30 to 5:30 generally. So you want to go ahead and plan for one Thursday a month for that to be one of your Leadership DeKalb program days, okay? And then our days, I'm not going to go through the detail of them, but we have an Integrity and Ethics Day because we value, as leaders in DeKalb, particularly given sort of the cultural milieu of what leadership means and some of the behaviors and actions we see of our leaders, that we need to be able to engage the notion of integrity and ethics. What does that mean? What does that look like? What are our expectations for the future of DeKalb County? And how do we acknowledge, sort of the history of DeKalb County? So Integrity and Ethics Day is one of our days. And these are not necessarily in the order of the days, but I'm just giving you a small flavor of the different days, the pieces that we feel are important as we prepare for the leaders of DeKalb County. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of the wonderful things about being in DeKalb County is that we are a super diverse county on several levels. And so we take the time to try to engage all of that, right? So it's not just about race and ethnicity and age and gender identity, but all of the pieces that make us who we are. And we believe that that diversity, that equity, that inclusion, and the belonging is what makes our county so unique and so special, right? So we take time to talk about, what does that look like in DeKalb County? What does that mean for DeKalb County? And again, what has it meant and what will it mean moving forward? We also have a History, Arts, and Culture Day. There were some parts of DeKalb County that I just had no idea were so rich in history. And when you're able to literally go to these places, because on these program days, we don't necessarily just come and sit in a conference room. Now, there may be some sitting in a conference room, so don't go back and say, you said, but they may be different conference rooms. You might have gotten bused together somewhere to a conference room. So you get to see all these different corners of DeKalb. And in seeing them, you get to learn some of the history, right? You get to learn about the live art scene and the culture that is so rich in this county. And again, I'm not saying that other counties and other municipalities don't have it, but DeKalb County is really, really special in that regard. And even though I was a mom and, I had kids in all the corners of the county, I knew the school route. I didn't know all the little special pockets, all the different theaters, all of the different pieces that we had in DeKalb County. So we have our History, Arts, and Culture Day. We also have our Economic Development Day. And one thing that you'll see is that we thread Economic Development Day throughout all of these days, because that truly is how our infrastructure is built and maintained in DeKalb County, right? So Economic Development Day, you'll get to hear the plans for DeKalb, why we're choosing to close these schools or move these things or grow and develop in this area. What's the plan for the future of the county? And that's fascinating because as a leader, we don't want to just be reactionary, right? We want to be in the front of the conversation such that we're able to see what's going on and to be a part of the change that we want to see. So we have to understand the money, right? And we have all sorts of really, really fun activities that you'll do on these days. You might, try to figure out, well, how do I spend this money? What do I do with this money? How far does it go? Does it stretch? So all sorts of fun activities that are our program teams, and I should say this. So we have a team of alumni who are the ones who get together and plan each of these program days. So it's not, just me, Shara, Mike, Geralyn, all these sort of old, Leadership DeKalb people making you hold on to what we did because that's what matters. But these are fresh eyes. In some cases, we'll have brand new members from the class of 24 planning your day, right? And then we'll also have the original best class ever also planning your days. And before they even thought of the best class, we'll have some of them planning your day. So it's a really wonderful sort of cacophony of ideas and strengths. And it becomes a beautiful opportunity for us to really understand what leadership looks like in DeKalb. So Economic Development Day is the one I just talked about. We also have Government Day. And on Government Day, we look at all the various levels of government. And I need Mike here so I make sure I don't mess them up, right? But we look at state government. So you may get, a special trip to the Gold Dome, maybe to see what's going on down there, right? We also look at municipal and local leadership. And so you might be on the move. You may even get to hop on a MARTA and see, well, is this how they travel to different places to do leadership in DeKalb County and outside? Maybe, maybe not. So you never know what you're going to get, but we're going to get past all those fears and things that you may not have done since your 20s. And some of you are still in your 20s and we love you for that, but many of us are not. And so the idea of hopping on a MARTA train is part of leadership. Sometimes you have to take those risks, right? Because it feels risky. I don't know if I'm going to fall over. I'm like that at the airport as well, but that's just my personal testimony. So we also have Justice Day. And Justice Day, for me as a sociology professor, is particularly interesting because justice is something that we want for everybody, but we really have to wrestle with what does justice look like, right? What does that mean? So there may be an opportunity for you to visit a jail. You might get to go to DeKalb County Jail and see what that is like. Hear the doors closing behind you. Feel that sensory experience. See our brothers and sisters who may have made some poor decisions or may have been victims of a circumstance. And then we understand what their situation is. And then we're able to engage. How do we respond to it? How do we prepare for it? How do we plan for it, right? All of this is part of leading in a county, because all of these pieces contribute to who DeKalb County was, is, and will be. And it's our expectation that those of you who come through this program will be the leaders of today and tomorrow. So it's important that we see all of these pieces, all of these aspects of the county. We also have Education Day, which I'm particularly partial to, because something you may not think about is that DeKalb County, we educate babies all the way from preschool, right, from birth, all the way through post-secondary education. So we have all of that right here in the county. We can look at what happens when, when our mothers are raising their children, when they're nurturing them still inside of their bellies while they're in utero, right? We have to understand, what does that look like? How do we try to ensure that all of the children in DeKalb County are on a level playing field, right? And then we look into DeKalb County schools and understand, well, what's the difference between a charter school and a non-charter school? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses, right? And then we can move all the way up and look and see what's happening at, and I want to say the old name, so I'm going to stop, but Georgia State Perimeter Campus. I think I got it right? And then formerly the school known as DeKalb Tech. I should be a leader, I've forgotten the name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? And all of this is right here in our county. But if we're not necessarily, if we don't have an opportunity to go to these spaces, to talk to the leaders, to hear what our future looks like, to hear the types of jobs that will be coming, that we need to prepare our students for, we'll be ill prepared as a county, right? And so we're training our young people to do jobs that won't exist in this county. Whereas what we're desiring to do is to ensure that we are raising the next generation of leaders who will be well equipped to handle, right? I mean, we're teaching these young people for jobs that don't even exist yet. And so this is why it's so important that we incorporate education into all that we do. And then lastly, the 10th day is Health Day. And Health Day is so critically important because none of us can do what we do if we're not aware and not healthy, right? And so it's important to have a good sense of what health means, what it looks like across the county. How are we prepared? How are we aware? How do we understand trends and patterns and all of these things? And we are so fortunate here to have amazing healthcare systems, but also the CDC, right? So our ability to interact with one of the leading centers, I'm just going to say the name, right? The Center for Disease Control and Prevention right here in DeKalb County, we get to interact with them, to interface with them, to understand what is it that you're doing? How should we prepare? How can we partner with you? So these are some of the days that we have put together that we think really help to shape you as a leader in DeKalb, to understand what DeKalb is, who DeKalb is, and to equip you with the tools to lead us into the future of DeKalb County. So we hope that you're excited, buckled up and ready, we're ready to go, because once you get started, it's nonstop, but you won't want it to stop. So with that, I'll hand the mic back over to you, Shara.
Thank you very much for that that overview. And I also didn't mean to mention that if you do have questions, we'll try and save some time at the end for questions. But if you have any, you can put it in the chat, and Debbie's going to be monitoring that so we can get to those questions. So in addition to the program days, there's different aspects of different other requirements, including a community service project. An Angel who recently went through it last year, and they did a fabulous job with their presentation. I was going to ask her to speak on her experience with the community service project aspect of Leadership DeKalb.
Absolutely. So I truly enjoyed it. I actually got the community service project that I wanted, which was at that time Ivy Prep Academy. And it goes hand in hand with what Adria was talking about, education and raising children. And so I really enjoyed my experience. And it also taught me things that I didn't know about sitting on a board and helping shape and develop what the institution would look like. And so these are transferable skills that you can take anywhere. And I really enjoyed my experience and was so excited to be able to participate in the community service project. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the projects. They have been a part of Leadership DeKalb since 2014. And since that time, Leadership DeKalb has partnered with 68 nonprofit organizations. And the purpose of this partnership is to give back to DeKalb County, to also build stronger ties with DeKalb, and with the DeKalb nonprofits, and to create an opportunity for the class members, the members of the leadership class, to explore the relationship between service and leadership. So class members will have invested over 2,000 hours in volunteer time. So that number just came to me today, and I was shocked. To over 2,000 hours, which equates to over $75,000 in hard work and sweat equity and payment to partnering with the nonprofits. And the nonprofits get the value of that because they don't have to pay that money. And our nonprofit the way we partner with our nonprofit organizations to do our community service projects is that the nonprofit organizations will apply during the summer to be considered to be selected to have help in areas such as marketing and key messaging, strategy planning, membership growth and board recruitment, operation effectiveness, and organizational design. And so these are pretty much the areas of the topics that you will be assisting the nonprofits that are selected by the Leadership DeKalb program to assist in the nonprofit organization and helping grow them in these particular areas. So the class will be broken, your Leadership DeKalb class of 2025 will be broken down into smaller groups. So while you may have a large class of somewhere between 40 and 50, then your class will be broken up into smaller groups to assist the nonprofits with building these plans for them. And it's based on personality profile, and you will work with your alumni community service project coordinator. Now, your profile is something that's interested. I don't think that was mentioned, but you will have the opportunity to get profiled as far as where your leadership skills are and where you are in a DISC profile for those that are familiar with DISC. And then based on that, they won't put all D's together and all I's together. They mix them up so that you will learn how to work with different personalities. And lastly, you will present your final project not only to your nonprofit, but also to your entire Leadership DeKalb County class at the closing retreat. And your alumni will be there, and your nonprofit agency representatives will be there, and everyone will be there to support you and applaud you and see the hard work that you've accomplished over the last 10 months.
Thank you so much, Angel. Yes, it's kind of we had everybody from last year where y'all did I think y'all did a marketing plan or and then there was another team. Okay, they did for Toco Hills Community Alliance. I think they revamped their website. So it's just kind of different things. Other people helped with board recruitment plan and things like that. So it was really different projects for each organization. Something I forgot to put in our talking points, but Joseph, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick, was another aspect that we just started back this year. We had done it back in 2019, and then we had to stop because of the pandemic, but we added back police or fire department ride-alongs. And Joseph, I believe you just did the fire ride-along recently, and I wanted to see if you could talk about your experience.
I am still working on having mine completed. Actually, just as a preface, even though I think Chris probably can answer this better than I can, the diversity and depth of your class will amaze you, because I am working with someone from my class to kind of do something a little outside of the rails as far as our opportunity to do a ride along with either DeKalb Police or DeKalb Fire. I'm going through the Decatur route. And it's someone from my actual community service group who has gotten me the in to do it that way. So we're actively coordinating that, and that should be done ASAP. But either way, it does speak again to the volumes of who you're going to be in class with. And it really is, it's unbelievable. And I know there's more questions about this that I'll get to soon, but yeah, I think Chris perhaps would have a better answer on this one.
Have you finished yours yet? If not, I know I can speak to her. Geralyn or can speak to it as well.
Sorry, you were asking me if I've done mine yet?
Yes, your police or fire.
No, I have not, but I have already done a Chambly PD ride along right before I started Leadership DeKalb. And so I will, and I've done fire in the city of Atlanta. So I will say I'm excited about mine, and I had to deliberate which PD I wanted to do, if I wanted to do fire again, because the fire departments are always the most feel good. I'll remind folks that they do the stuff like installing baby seats in people's cars and whatnot. So I always like to think that you know, they treat everybody the same, but I should really go visit my local fire station just to be sure.
Yes. Geralyn, I don't know if you want to talk to your experience.
Sure, I can share. In 2009, I went on a police ride, and boy, was it a ride. We did go fast. We were on a police chase and flying down the highway, and you didn't have to do that. I think he was just kind of showing out a little bit. And yes, I rode in the front, and I did, no handcuffs or anything. It didn't need to be that real, but but it was just an interesting experience nonetheless, to kind of see things from a different perspective, and going to the police station and just kind of touring around there and just having those conversations, but just having that experience in the front seat, and just riding along and just kind of going through some of the routine. Obviously it's not every single thing, but going through some of the routine of what they go through, and just really risking their lives every day for us, to protect us. So it was a great experience to have done that. That was 2009, I know. And so whether it's riding with the fire department or with the police, you have that experience, and it just makes part of this kind of a rounded experience for you, for the going through your journey of the program.
Thank you. And then, so once you kind of complete your program days, your community service projects, your police or fire ride-alongs and closing retreat, you're a graduate, and then you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? Now that I'm a proud Leadership DeKalb alumni, what do you do next? And so we have alumni engagement opportunities. And so I know some Angel and Geralyn are on some of the committees. We have program day committees like Justice Day, which Angel was on the Justice Day program, and you helped with some of the planning with co-chairs when some of your alumni. We also, Geralyn does opening and closing retreat. Gosh, I guess I've been on all of them. But in addition to the program day committee, we also have a social event member engagement committee, where we have a summer soiree. We also have a holiday soiree. And we are in the planning. We, again, back in 2019, we used to have an annual dinner, and we had to stop that in 2019, but we're looking to redo that or restart that this year. And that's usually it's almost like a homecoming celebration, where all the classes can come back together, have a speaker, just get to kind of celebrate and reconnect. We also have training opportunities and a training committee, things like we did back in October of 2023, we had inclusive leadership training with some facilitators from the National Civil Rights and History Museum. Tomorrow night, we actually have a nonprofit board basics training with Janice Robinson, who was class of 2017. She's the United Way VIP executive director. So she's conducting that training tomorrow night at the Toco Hills Library. And then in addition, we're working with Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears. We used to do a eggs and issues, kind of a breakfast experience. And Commissioner Long-Spears wanted to bring that back. And so we're working on scheduling some more additional trainings on things like artificial intelligence, early childhood education, affordable housing. And we, as you may have seen on your application, we asked for kind of the top issues that you think are facing DeKalb County. So we went back through all those applications and kind of found the top 3 or 4 issues that the current class is interested in. So we're trying to dive deeper into some of those issues. And then Chris, I saw that you put in the chat that you thought Justice Day was very impactful. And that was one of the things, talking about how our program days have evolved over the years. Back when I did it in 2017, we did sit a long time and went through panels. We went to different locations, but we learned after the pandemic, after we came back, that there are different expectations, and folks, they're not used to sitting for more than 45 minutes. So we've really tried to kind of make shorter panels or speakers. We've tried to have opportunities for the class to engage with those speakers and ask questions. And then also we've incorporated some more interactive experience, Angel Justice Day. So Chris, I don't know if you wanted to speak to kind of that engagement that you had on Justice Day with some of the individuals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think to be very specific, it was the I guess the module or the portion of the day, amidst the rest of the agenda was us having to listen to individuals who'd basically been done wrong by the justice system. And as somebody who I'm often very cynical, but I work with hopefulness in mind, knowing that these situations happen, and it's both refreshing and very grounding to get that conversation of times in the past, because we're not pointing the fingers at our justice system today. We're pointing it of not just of the past, but of different geographic regions, but then bringing it into context of what we would do here in DeKalb if we were confronted with that, whether it's solvable because of money, because of our privilege, or because of leadership networks like this. How do we avoid doing that to some of the most vulnerable? So it was very good. I liked it a lot.
Glad to hear that. Thank you very much. And Joseph, I don't know if you want to speak to one of your favorite program days that you've had this year.
Sure. I mean, I think I joined Chris, and it's hard not to share the sentiment that Justice Day had the most impact. And the way that the program was scheduled, I think is, and I'm not going to give away any special treats right here, but the way it was structured really gave you a real life example of what the justice system is, particularly how close to home that justice system is, and the wrongs that folks have encountered right in front of our eyes in DeKalb County. And I think that was really impactful. I also loved Government Day. I thought that was really interesting, and it was just a really fun time. We got to experience state level, county level, and even more local city level, different levels of government in and around where we live. During the day, I'm a land use and zoning attorney and property related attorney. So I loved Government Day, particularly the local level, because it let our city managers shine, and they got to tell us exactly what they deal with on a daily basis, and really getting that inside information of how the heck do we make the determination where we allocate funds, and what are we focusing on, and why are we focusing on that, and how hard is it to really get a project through? Because I know a lot of our class members, myself included, were thinking, well, why don't we put more money towards this fund? And they say, well, that's way more difficult than you guys are giving credit for, that you might think. And I loved Government Day because we got to see every single angle of local government. And I'm sure Chris enjoyed that one too for his own reasons, but Government Day was very impactful for me because it was real, just like Justice Day. And it was just, this is right in front of your eyes, and you're going to learn things that you just had absolutely no idea were taking place right in your backyard.
Thank you. Yes, and I saw, Chris, your comment. We had Education Day last Thursday, and so it is always a fun day because you get to be around some kids that's fun. But we started off with we started off with the administrative complex, and I heard from our superintendent, and Allison Gevertz, one of our school board members, was leading the day. And then we went to, the first time ever, we went to a charter school, went to International Community School, and with Fran Angel, who was in your class. And so that was really informative. And then over to the Fernbank Science Center, which I've been in DeKalb County for 27 years now, and I'd never been to the Fernbank Science Center. So we got to go there, and then over to Decatur High School and the Decatur Career Academy. And we all agree, we think we had the best food on Education Day because the culinary teams from Clarkston High School prepared our breakfast, and then the culinary team from Decatur prepared our lunch, and it was fantastic. And then we ended the day over at Georgia Piedmont Technical College and got to do some hands-on experience of some of the things they're teaching there. So that was an extra special day. Well, real quick, I was going to ask Geralyn, kind of what inspired you to apply to Leadership DeKalb, and what you've gotten out of the experience after you graduated?
Sure. I'm a human resources professional by trade and have always been interested in learning more and doing more as far as my professional development. And actually my supervisor and at that time, and who is still my mentor today, told me about it. And so, I applied and I think that one of the things that even looking at the criteria and some of the components of the program was learning a lot about DeKalb County. And I also have lived here for quite a while and learned a lot about things that are surrounding me, the history of DeKalb County and the different areas of DeKalb County. I went to Flat Rock, that was part of one of our trips. I didn't even, and that's in my backyard. That's less than 10 minutes from where I live, and passed it probably a million times, but never really took the time to know what it was and the history behind that. And so I think it's a lot of the real life experiences, as well as just making a lot of connections and networking. And that's one of the things that I heard from the beginning. And a friend of mine now, we met at the opening retreat, not the opening retreat, the open house, something similar to what we did last week in person. And she also became one of my line sisters, but we met here. And so you talk about a common bond that that forms at the time that when you first meet and throughout the program. So it was really about the learning, which attracted to me. I wanted to learn more about the county that I lived in.
Great. And then Adria, I was gonna if you could kind of think about why you think Leadership DeKalb is so important to our county and to our state.
Absolutely. So, and I'll start off sort of answering Geralyn's question and my question because I have the mic now, so I'm just going to say it. So since I left Leadership DeKalb, I have been able to serve on the Georgia State Charter School Foundation Board. And now I'm actually serve as the chair of that board. And as I told you all, I found my way to Leadership DeKalb through sort of when you have 4 kids, you do all the educational things, right? So I did all the educational things. So I was already sort of in the circles. But the relationships that I built, the information that I learned through Leadership DeKalb is what equipped me to now be a leader for the state of Georgia, right? So as we're talking about funding charter schools and keeping charter schools open and closing and educating people as to what charter schools are and who needs charter schools and the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of that I have to attribute to starting with Leadership DeKalb. I can't articulate enough. I was already a pretty decent leader, and I share this often. But as professors, we don't really think we need people, right? We just give us a book, we'll figure it out, and we'll move on. Like we're really, really smart and cocky in that way. And partnering through my community service project and other sort of activities with my class just reminded me of the power that there is in sort of having multiple diverse perspectives coming together. And so the reason that we need Leadership DeKalb is because we have to be able to come together if we're going to make it to tomorrow. And that's just the reality, right? And this is not a sort of kumbaya appeal that I'm making, but literally we need to have all the voices at the table so that everybody is represented, so that we hear everybody's thoughts, everybody's ideas, and we leave that table better armed for a brighter tomorrow, right? So I truly believe that I get to see that as I sit and chair the State Charter School Foundation Board. We got a huge grant from the Department of Education. And so as I'm, looking at over $30 million, I'm like, wow, thanks Leadership DeKalb, because I'm a great mom, but I'm not a $30 million mom, right? But now that I have that money, right, and I'm able to talk to people across the table, and the politics that happen at the Gold Dome are the politics that happen at the Gold Dome. And I'm right there in the midst of it. And I have to thank Leadership DeKalb because it's equipped me with the ability to understand people's perspectives, to know the questions to ask, to not be intimidated or afraid to reach out to somebody who in my class, we don't necessarily have the same political beliefs or values, but we've built this camaraderie. And so I can have what may be a difficult conversation such that I'm better equipped when it comes time to represent my role or this foundation board. So that is why we need Leadership DeKalb.
All right. Well, that is a good answer. Thank you very much. So just kind of wrapping up some information, then we can get to any questions y'all may have. Geralyn, if you wanted to walk through kind of the selection process now that you have some information, if you'd like to talk about what happens next.
Yes, absolutely. And so what happens next is that if you have not already done so, the application deadline, we did extend that until Monday, April 15th. And the selection committee that will consist of myself and a co-chair, as well as we also include 4 or 5 alumni to come and join us in that selection committee. And what we're looking for really is just trying to balance. We have people from all different areas and professions and that sort and different levels. So rather that's a judge, an attorney, someone in a superintendent, but whatever your position may be, entrepreneur, we're looking to try to balance, and because again, we're looking for that diversity and inclusion to not be too off balance. I think that one year Shara talked about, we had like a huge number of attorneys in a class. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but we just want to have some of a balance, a good balance and diversity of those that make up DeKalb County. That was real good say. So that also consists of those that are in different races and gender, ages, professions, different areas of DeKalb County, because it's a very big county. And so we will meet like in April and to review those applications and that sort of thing. And then we will notify those that are selected for that class. And then you will start in August. So very exciting time. So we're looking for you. So if you haven't already, get those applications. It is a wonderful program.
Thank you so much, Geralyn. Yes,
Yep.
and we hope to or plan on letting folks know mid-May. One of the reasons why we did extend the application time was because with Debbie coming on last week, she's been helping me work on a more user-friendly application form. So that's why we're hoping to get that rolled out this week. So those, I know many of y'all have already submitted your applications, and thank you for doing it the old school way. But we are hoping to roll out kind of an easier way this week, and then extend it with spring break next week, and then extend it to that Monday, April 15th. And then Debbie, do you have anything else to add about the application or anything? We'll notify, we'll send out an e-blast, and we'll let all of y'all know as well when that is live and functioning. Now, if there's any questions that y'all may have, we're happy to hear them now. If not, if Chris or Joseph or Angel or anybody else have anything to add, then
No, I'll briefly add that it is well worth my time, my money as a small business owner. You know, that's coming out of my revenue of a single silo of funds, and I've been through several other programs, and really glad that Leadership DeKalb was everything I thought it would be and extra.
I'd like to briefly add to that this program forces you to do what I believe to be a very important quality for a leader, which is drop your ego and collaborate. And it forces you to. And you're in a room with all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds. And I really do believe in that sentiment that in order to get to tomorrow, we have to work together. And it does sound cliche, but that's what I've gotten so far. I know Chris and I are on our way to the finish line, but that's what I've learned so far is just drop the ego and meet some great people.
yes, that's one thing somebody said, I think last week about, everybody drops their titles. And even as an attorney, it is hard not to refer to folks as judge something. I have a hard time calling judges by their first name, but they really want that. They said, when I'm here at the Leadership DeKalb, I'm not a judge, I'm just Mike, and things like that.
And I'll add to that, Share, because we didn't touch just to touch on the opening retreat, and that's where we would come together, and we're still planning that right now. Is that we do this, and if you have not done this, it's okay, it's even better. And we do kind of learn as leaders, you still have to work together, and that's real life. And that's one of the great things about the program as well, is that you have the participants in all different walks of life. But when you come into the room, that, yeah, we want you to take those titles off, but we certainly want you to bring your authentic selves to be able to participate. And so you will use some of that, of what you bring to the table, including your experience of wherever you may be. That's going to come out at some point in the program. So when we break you into those rooms, we will start to, because we know we need to break the ice a little bit. And so we will have activities where you'll start to work with different different areas and different groups. So you will get that opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better. So as you go into the different program days, you will become, by the end of the program, you'll have lots of best friends. And so at the closing retreat is where we're going to bring it all home, and you'll be able to kind of share what some of your learnings are, and it will be a great journey. So just want to throw that in about the opening retreat and some of the things we'll be doing there. And we will definitely have fun. Lots of fun.
Thank you, Geralyn.
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson, I think you had your hand raised. I don't know if we had answered your question.
Yeah, I think you did. And I just want to find out a little bit more about these. I know there's diversity in the group, but I was looking forward to, like, how big are the group? Like, what's a typical class size?
Yes, thank you. I saw Shamika also answered that question. Typically about 50 people. I think my class had 54. And one of the reasons why we limited it to 50 is charter buses seat about 55 people. And so we tend to limit it for that purpose. Last year, Angel's class, they did have a smaller one. It was about 28 folks. And that was, I think, as a result of coming off of 3 years of pandemic, hybrid, virtual type thing. So yeah, but typically they're about 50 people, and that's kind of our goal. Let's see, I was looking to see, Vanessa had a question in the chat about community service projects. Yes, those are done outside of the monthly meeting. Are you required to have meeting times with your team to meet the deadline? Yes, typically you meet maybe once a month, maybe more often. Sometimes it can be done, well, now, back when I did it, we didn't have Zoom, but I think now folks can do it virtually. Some teams choose to meet before or after the program day. I think it depends on the team and the team schedules for that. You do not have to live in DeKalb County to apply. Folks, I know we have folks from all around. We have them Henry County, Fulton County, Clayton County. It's kind of, they live, work, play, or they work in a county that's adjacent to DeKalb County. So it's not a requirement. Or Angel, Villarica, things like that. I was trying to think if there were other questions. Oh, we were talking about the tuition today. We do have opportunities for some full or partial scholarships, a limited number of that. We also do allow payment plans. Many employers do pay for some or all of the tuition, so that helps out. Trying to think if there was anything else. If you don't get selected this go. Oh, yes, if you don't get selected this year, and we've had some people who don't get selected, we encourage them to apply the following year. There's not a time limit on that. We also do have people who need to defer. So sometimes they're accepted into the class, things happen, jobs change, starting a family, moving, things like that. So I think we have 3 people who deferred from last year who will be in the class of 2025. So that is another option as well. And I'm trying to think. I think those were all the questions I see in the chat right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you have any questions, think you have my cell phone. You can call me, text me, email me. I try to respond pretty quickly. It's a busy time right now. We've got with the class. You're already planning for Health Day in a couple of weeks, and looking towards closing retreat. But do try to get back to you. And now that Debbie's on board, one of us can get back to you quicker if you have any questions. We are here. And I think, I'm sorry, Amity is also on the phone. She's another board member, but she had to do some carpooling duty tonight while her husband's out of town, but she did want to join. She's a new board member. And our board chair, Mike Jacobs, he had to be with his family tonight, so he was not able to join us. So he did want to send his apologies for that. But I'm just, I said, Leadership DeKalb kind of changed my world for the better, and I got a job out of it. So eventually, but it is one of the best things I have done. Like Adria, I did not see myself as a leader. I started when I was president of Junior League of DeKalb County, and did not know what I was getting into, but realized there are all different types of leader. I see myself as a servant leader. And so I was not used to kind of being in front of the group and leading. And let me see, can you all reshare the best contact info in case we have more questions? Yep, info@leadershipdekab.org. Thank you. It's the best email. One of us will get that. If not, Shara@leadershipdekab.org or Debbie at Leadership, we'll definitely get back with you on that. So anyway, so with that, if there's no other questions, well, oh, sorry, excellent question. Do you need to be referred? No, we do. It is helpful when you are nominated by alumni. It is helpful if you know somebody who's in the class, or you have a reference from somebody who has been not in the class, who's been through the program. That helps. Not required though. It is just something that's helpful where if we have a question, we can reach out to that person or contact them. But we also do have the references, so if we need to, we can reach out to the references as well. Oh, thanks, Amity. But I was trying to think if there was anything else. And we did revamp. We were trying to kind of simplify the application a little bit. It still has all the most of the information that if you've already filled it out is in there. We just tried to. We were like, we don't need to know what year you graduated from high school. We realized that, so we kind of cut that out, and things. Things like that. We're like, why are we asking this question? So we kind of walked through that today and rethought some things. And it's kind of like Junior League of DeKalb County, where we realized back in 2017, we're like, wait, why are we asking for a husband's name? It's just things that have been around forever. And so it's just time to rethink some things. Anyway, thank you all very much. I hope you have a good night. Like I said, if you have any questions, like Debbie said, please join us. We do have, I forgot to talk about that. We do have 2 DeKalb County CEO candidate forums coming up in April. Chris has been helping us with his government connections, helping us plan some of those. We have one April 16th down at Stonecrest, the Privy at Stonecrest. And then on April 25th, we have one at Legacy Park in Decatur. It was the former United Methodist Children's Home. So we have 2 of those coming up, and we've been really excited to be able to get back, partner with DeKalb County organizations, and get those forums together. And we may be working on a Board of Education candidate forum as well. But it's just, May 21st is coming very soon. So we're going to see if we can squeeze that in. But thank you all very much for your time. And if you think of anything, just let us know later on, and y'all have a good night. Stay dry, and we'll see you soon.